This is the first planted tank that I've ever set up, and it's been running for about 4 months now. I've added to it in that time, as I've shown in previous videos, but overall it hasn't been very successful. I'm still learning and making mistakes in the process. In this video, I'm going to rescape the tank and hopefully improve it. A lot of the plants that I put into this tank haven't done too well, and I've been having a lot of algae problems. The first thing I'm going to address is the fact that I have way too much substrate in a tank this size. I will start by removing the large central rock, which I called Pride Rock when I first added it to the tank. I've got a bucket of dechlorinated tap water ready for that to go into. The ficus and the Java fern should be happy in there for a while until I'm ready to put them in their new home. Next, I'll lower the water level to make it easier to get the shrimp out. With the water level down, catching the shrimp should be easier, but I will also take out all the plants. I've placed them in a bucket which has the water that I drained out of the tank plus some dechlorinated tap water. This is so that the parameters aren't too different from the tank, so that the shrimp can go straight in there. With all the shrimp out and safely in the bucket, I'm going to scrape the glass while there's still some water in the tank to get rid of all the algae. And with the glass clean, I can now drain the water out so that I can begin to sort out the substrate for what will be the third time in this tank's history. Now I'll remove roughly half of the substrate, because what I've learned so far is that in a nano tank you want to maximise the water volume, as it will make it easier to maintain stable water parameters. With the unnecessary substrate now removed, I can smooth out what's left ready for a capping layer. The sand that I have chosen is a pewter aquarium sand from Fishkeeper, which I got from my local Maidenhead Aquatics. I've added a relatively thin layer as I don't want to make the same mistake again of having too much substrate for the tank. I've sloped it from the front to the back as it creates the illusion of having more depth to the tank. Now I'm ready to add stuff back into the tank, and I'm going to begin with this red rock that I've just bought. It has a curved part on the back, and I'm going to place that into the back corner of the tank and add some aqua soil behind it in order to create a raised planting area. I'm happy with the placement of that, but if you look closely you can see that there is a gap between the rock and the edge of the tank, which I think the aqua soil will come through. So I'm going to fill the gap with gravel to help hold back the aqua soil. I've used some small red gravel because I thought if any slips through over time, then it won't ruin the look of the scape. I've now added the aqua soil behind the rock, which was some of the soil that I took out of the tank earlier. And with that done, I can cap it with more of the pewter sand. With that done, that's the majority of my hardscaping for this tank complete, as I'm going to keep it very simple and hopefully in time the plants will become the main focus of the tank. The first plants I'm putting back in will be the crypts, but I'm only going to put 2 out of the 4 back in this tank, as I used one in the tree tank from the last video, and I'll use the other in an upcoming project. This crypt has had a lot of vigorous root growth, so I'm actually going to trim them a bit to make planting it easier. And with that done, it can now go in the tank. planted the second crypt in front of the rock, and now I'm going to add the foreground plant, which I believe is Monte Carlo. It hasn't been doing too well so far, but I'm hoping it will begin to do better and actually grow and spread. So that's all the remaining healthy bits, and fingers crossed that'll spread into a carpet. Now I'm going to add the wood back into the rear left hand corner, as I was happy with how that looked in the previous setup. It has 2 Bucerflander attached to it, which also don't look too great, but hopefully they'll improve as well. I've also got some Boost SP Red, which I've glued to some slate. Next I'll add some pieces of slate which I attached a small Java ferns to that were growing on the leaves of the original plant that was in this tank. Now I'm going to add some stems to the back centre of the tank, and again I'm hoping they'll do better in the new setup than they have been doing in the previous one. With those planted, I'm going to add some water to the tank before I move on to the next step. I'm using a small jug that I made holes in the bottom of so that I don't disturb the substrate too much, although it's not a perfect system. Now that the water level is up to the top of the raised planting area, I'm going to add the stems there. I believe these are semi-aquatic plants, which is why I made the raised area. As they grow, the tips should become immersed. And that's all the planting in this tank done, so now it's ready to put in its final place before I fill it up fully, which is next to the underwater tree tank I did recently. You can see that the wood I used for the tree has released tannins and has made the water go brown, so I will do a water change to get it back looking clear. drained the tank before moving it to reduce disturbance, so now it's in place I can fill it up. Now that the tank is full, I will wait for it to come up to temperature so that the condensation will disappear. It's been a couple of hours now, and as you can see the condensation has gone and the water is looking nice and clear. So now I'm ready to begin the process of acclimating the shrimp and getting them back in the tank. The shrimp are now safely back in their tank and can start exploring the changes. You can see there's still bladder snails and ramshorn snails in the tank. The rescape on this tank is now complete. Let me know what you think, and if you want to keep up to date with the progress of the tank, then be sure to subscribe. Thanks for watching, see you in the next one.